Good afternoon and welcome to International Women's Day. We're here at Legrand. I'm Virginie Gatin. I'm the Executive Vice President for CSR for the Legrand Group, and I'm also the very proud global sponsor for the ellegrand network. So ellegrand network is our global employee-led network that's of course promoting gender diversity. The core mission is elevating all through gender diversity for an inclusive, high-performing and sustainable organization. This conversation is broadcast live in Australia and New Zealand. We're very happy to have you with us. This year, for International Women's Day, the United Nations call for action is centered on rights, justice, action for all women and girls. A reminder that true equality requires dismantling this gap, legal and also social barriers. A few statistics, I think, to better understand the issue. Globally, women still only have 64% of the legal rights men enjoy. So if we continue at the current rate of catching up, it would take us globally 286 years to fill that legal gap. Staggering and very scary. So it really is important that we move on those legal rights, but linked to that also the impact of the justice system. And that's why we're here today with a panel I'll be introducing in a second. Women's rights and the impact of the justice system on women is really key. We will be discussing the consequences of going through that justice system and how it can impact negatively, particularly women who are, of course, more exposed and we'll discuss the consequences and to the changes that we can contribute to. So introducing the panel, welcome ladies. I'm very pleased to introduce Yvette Evans-Streeter, the CEO of Success Works, Natasha Consili, Employment and Training Coordinator for Success Works, and Ebony Nelder, the Success Works Program Graduate, and who's also now Program Coordinator for UR Digital. So very welcome. Yvette, I'll start with you. First, do you mind explaining what Success Works does?
Sure, thank you. So Success Works is a small not-for-profit organisation. We're quite unique within the New South Wales system, where we support women who've got a criminal history into meaningful employment. So the way that we operate is that we have a number of our staff with lived experience of the criminal legal system, and we support them through workshops and mentoring and providing employment opportunities. So we're governed by a board, and we operate within New South Wales, both in Sydney metro area and also in regional locations.
Thank you very much. So hearing the theme of the year for the UN International Women's Day, so rights, justice, action for all women and girls, it can feel a bit remote when you're working in a company. So can you make it a little bit more concrete for businesses?
Absolutely. I think the UN themes for International Women's Day this year, I think it's really key to understand that these are doing words. These need to be actionable things that we can implement in order to really live them. So I think it's really important that businesses look at each one of these rights, justice, action and work out what are some key parts that they can do to contribute to that. So that could be, from our perspective, it could be around reviewing your employment hiring practices, creating opportunities for women, especially women with experience of the criminal justice system. I think it can also be in ensuring that we create leadership opportunities for women. I think women are often overlooked, and certainly the women that we support are often overlooked in those jobs as well. I think around having training and understanding that this impacts all women. It impacts young women. It impacts women who are older. I think around 30% of the women we support are over 50. We have women who are single mothers, so sole care responsibilities, and trans women are also involved in that. And I think it's around creating opportunities for all of those cohorts and not letting their age, their background, any of those things define what they're capable of.
Thank you very much. Before moving to more on what Success Works does, I think it's important to state what we do at Legrand, because there's a real link between helping those women in employment, but also promoting women within the company. So we're very committed at Legrand on gender diversity. Our target is by 2027 to have 35% of management positions held by women, and by 2030 to have a third of key management positions held by women, and really creating this talent pipeline, really promoting women and supporting them in their career development, I think is really a key element in moving forward. So I think it's very linked, because there's that employment moment, but there's also how do you create a concrete career path for women in companies is really important as well. Yvette, what practical support can make the biggest difference for the women you help?
Support is key. It really is the difference between succeeding and failing. And failure is something that has huge consequences. So some really practical things that we put into place for ourselves is that we ensure that our candidates have access to mentors. So mentors are volunteers who really support our women in helping them find employment and also keep employment. We ensure that they have access to all of the equipment that they need. So equipment and lack of access can actually prevent a lot of things happening as well for people, especially women. So, we have ability to link them up with phones and laptops and provide them with support in how to use technology. A lot of women who have especially been in prison for a long time often have, missed the opportunity to learn how to use emails. And so if you've ever thought about how to get a job without having access to emails, it's almost impossible. So we help them with that. I think we put in place a lot of things through our Helping Hands Hub, and also just making sure that they are supported by our staff, but also that we look for employers who also can offer supportive environments.
Thank you very much. So Natasha, as I mentioned, you're employment and training coordinator. Concretely, what does action look like for a participant?
So our candidates will come to us through different channels. They can be referred by different organisations, or they can self-refer. We have a big social media presence at the moment. We started that, and that has really raised awareness among women themselves, and we're finding that we're getting really motivated candidates who are ready and are finding us through our social media. So they will refer, and then they'll be onboarded. It is a call that is made, and we assess eligibility, what other requirements they have, where they're at within their journey with the legal system, what kind of, whether they have parole commitments, whether they have family commitments, what kind of supports they have in place, and what role we can play. We offer a really person-centred support, because each woman, even though they may have a common thread of the criminal legal system being touched by it, they also all have their own story and their own particular needs. And women come with us at different stages through their skills and their employment history. So we really try and support our women where they're at. So once they've been onboarded, they then have the opportunity to partake in our volunteering program. This volunteering program is new, and we're really excited. It's got real buzz around it. Our women are loving the fact that they can give back to other community organisations, and they can do that as a group. So they get to connect with women that have experienced similar stories than they have, and we're creating this community where we're not just supporting them with employment, but we're also creating connection, which absolutely, and it's so important, because the justice system, or the legal system, I should say, does really isolate you from where you came from. And when you're trying to turn your life around, you need to remove yourself from what you used to know. So you end up very lonely. And having support of women who have been through similar things is so important. And we are so proud to be able to create this with our volunteer program and our program in general. So the volunteering program, you can do at any point in time. You can always, even when you're employed, you can come back and volunteer with us. It is open to all of our candidates or whoever is engaged with us. We then invite the women to come to a series of workshops where we teach empowerment. It's throughout all of everything we do. Empowerment is so important. We want women to understand that they are so much more than the worst mistake or choice they have ever made or that has happened to them. And this alone, the change in how you, and I can speak from my own experience, having others see you for who you really are and not just for that criminal history is life-changing. Our workshops also cover resume writing. They cover record disclosure. We encourage women to get a copy of their national police check. And we teach them how to disclose this, as they're called turnaround talks, in a way that is non-traumatic, is safe, and is at where they're at. So that if they do want to go for jobs where an employer is just not going to budge or not doing record checks, they have the ability to manage this situation, create the narrative, and be the ones in control of that process. And for those that don't want to go through that process, we allow them to know that that's okay too, and they don't need to. There are employers out there that won't do criminal history checks, even for some of the jobs that they really thought they would never get into through their criminal history. So it's really about education on their side, what their role and their responsibility is within this process. And it's also allowing them to know it's not just their criminal history that is a barrier to employment. That employment market is tough. There are people without records out there struggling to get into employment, are doing hundreds of applications and not being seen. It's not just them. And until somebody actually helps you be aware of this, you don't think that way. You think this is just the barrier that is what is stopping them from gaining employment. So those are some of the things that we do in the workshops. Then they graduate and they are matched with mentors, as Yvette already spoke about that mentoring program. And they also come through to me and we do a one-on-one career coaching and discussion. And we really dig into where they want to go, what industries they're interested in, what other responsibilities they have, what are some of the barriers they're facing right now. And it gives me an opportunity then to match them with opportunities that we already have or go out and find some opportunities. We also encourage our women to look for their own opportunities, and we then assist with that application process, whatever their needs are, which really try and be person-centered. And I'm really excited also to share that we've now employed 4 of our women within our own social enterprise. It's a test and tag business, or social enterprise, I should say. And for those of you that don't know what test and tagging is, it is an electrical compliance requirement that each organisation or business has for, say, your toasters, your kettles, and any kind of electrical appliance you have in your business needs to be tested, and you're required by law to do so 6 monthly, 12 monthly, not sure around those things. But yeah, we encourage you to hire our women and our Success Works social enterprise and allow them to thrive in those jobs. We also, in this social enterprise, allow women that have no work history to gain some work skills. So come through our volunteering, then into the test and tag. We teach workplace etiquette, things like how to show up on time, how to have a conversation and not take it personally, check your emails regularly, appropriate conversations to have at work, things that we all take for granted because we've been in the workforce, and some of our women don't have that experience. So we really try and build those skills within that test and tag. And then finally, obviously, we also have the employer program where we match with as many employers as we can throughout the whole of the Sydney, New South Wales region to be able to work with them around re-educating them on police checks. And also working with them where they're at to fill some of the positions that they may need employment for. I think I covered everything. Yeah?
Yeah, I think you got it pretty close.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Ebony, as we said, so you're a Success Works program graduate. If you're comfortable sharing, of course, what circumstances led you to prison and what were the biggest barriers that you faced coming out?
Finding out at the age 33 that I had a diagnosis of ADHD and autism, I definitely believe that that would have had something to play with, I guess, my risk-taking behaviours and my quick-to-act behaviour, but definitely associating myself with the wrong crowd, making one or two silly mistakes, and maybe just not having the support and guidance that I maybe could have gotten, definitely would have led me there. The biggest barriers, I definitely thought that there was no way to go up. I would have, struggled with employment. I didn't think anyone would support me or anyone would want to be around me ever again. But I got there. I got there in the end.
So maybe you can share how Success Works helped you?
So I was linked in with Success Works in maybe the last 1 or 2 weeks of my time in custody. We had a discussion about what they could provide, what they could assist with. Once I was released, I connected with them again. I probably forgot about it with my ADHD. I'm sure Gemma or Natasha called me to say, hey, what's going on? And I think that's one of the things I really liked about them was just because I didn't respond didn't mean I didn't need them. They would reach out and say, like, everything all good? Do you need us to step back? Do you need us to help more? And definitely my small but very supportive amount of friends and family. They would always come to me and be like, so I came to Success Works before all their new programs, I had a mentor who was a volunteer mentor. I had done Zoom meetings with her and we used to speak, I think it was weekly or fortnightly at the beginning, and then it kind of ended because I wasn't in the right position. I wasn't ready to leave where I was. But then I started doing mentor sessions with Gemma from Success Works, and she'd call me weekly. She'd remind me, hey, have you done that for your resume? Hey, have you done this? Did you submit that application? I found another one. I always had them there, and even if I just needed to call any one of the women at Success Works just to have a chat and be like, hey, I'm struggling, or hey, this feels terrible, or I don't think I'm doing this right, they were just there. And I think that's one thing that really helped me.
Yes, I think you're a great example. That is, you shouldn't just take what you get straight away, but you need to be pushed, you need to be helped, you need to be supported through a certain amount of time before you get there. So it's great. Do you want to share where you are today and what you're doing?
So today I've almost reached my 6-month mark at UR Digital. We're an SEO and digital PR agency. We specialise in AEO, GEO, and App Store optimization. My boss very kindly welcomed me in for an interview for junior SEO analysis. I can't say the word. Unfortunately, I wasn't fit for that position, not because of who I am or where I've come from, just because of my skills and knowledge around that particular role. That was fine. I went away. Maybe 1 or 2 weeks later, Gemma called me and said, hey, that company you went to, they want to create a role for you. They want to offer you 1 day a week as an admin clerk. I said, if he can see enough skills in me to offer me 1 day for a role he didn't need, I'll take that 1 day. It grew into 3 days. Now I'm working 5 days, and I'm doing project coordination and administrative roles. So,
great to hear. So Natasha, over to you. What are the listening to this, what are the key employer behaviours that really help your candidates succeed?
Well, we'll start at recruitment. The key behaviours around that from employers is to question why you're doing record checks, and to, if it is possible for your business, to absolutely remove that process. We encourage you to do so. That will open doors for women that don't have the courage or the power to go for those roles that require checks, and it will open those doors for them. Other key employer would be feedback and also training. So a really clear induction process. I know that here at ellegrand you have a buddy system. I absolutely love that idea. I think each employer or business should have that for their new employees. It would, for our women, mean the difference between maybe failing and succeeding, and for many people to have that person that you can go to and ask those questions that you maybe don't really want to go and ask the manager. So I think that's really key, and really open and clear feedback sessions. I feel is really important for our women, so they can practice what it is like to sit and receive feedback around the tasks that they're doing and not take it as a personal attack. Learn these skills within the workplace, but also for women like myself who have come from, making bad choices and maybe not having that absolute self-worth in place. To have somebody give you really honest and clear feedback around how you're doing. So not just negative, but also the constructive and the positive things that you're doing, propels you forward and allows you to grow within your role. So I think that's really key in those steps. And
something just around with the positive feedback and stuff. I've never handled receiving positive feedback, I guess because I've never really had it. But when I joined this employment with UR Digital, I got things like, "Oh, so glad you're working here. You've helped us so much. You're doing so much." And I'm sitting there scratching my head thinking, I'm not really doing that much. It took me, I'm like still struggling when I get like positive feedback or accomplished on things that I've done, or well done, you did that in like 3 hours. That was so quick. I still think, okay, this is a bit weird, but it does, like, it's changed my whole life. Honestly, just that little bit of positive feedback has changed my whole life and makes me believe that
you can do it.
Maybe I'll get to the end of that rainbow. Sorry.
No, thank you.
Thanks very much. I think it's interesting what you're saying, because if you think about positive feedback, any feedback, but positive feedback support system, in the end, it's good for every employee. It's I think we all need it, because this is definitely what helps you grow, and that's what we want to have people grow. And I think specifically, and we see it with ellegrand, is women probably need more, because I think there's less self-confidence in women, and so definitely having that support system, I think, is key, even without any justice background, but definitely key. So thanks. Question to you both, Ebony and Yvette. What one system change would you prioritize for employer to change the situation?
Me first. I think for me, the one thing that I think employers can work on and change is around training. I think training is key. I think training provides opportunities. It also allows organisations to learn and grow more effectively. If I think about women and the women that we serve as well, one of the key things is that a lot of women bring a trauma history into the workplace, and I don't think workplaces handle it particularly well. I think, and I think that's how it's grown. We're often focused on the bottom dollar, or doing things as efficiently as possible. And, we have all this talk about AI and bringing in efficiencies. But at the end of the day, people need support, and they need training, and they need trauma-informed led change within organisations. And I think that that's true for any woman and most people that you work with may have something that they are dealing with outside of the workplace. And if you're talking about efficiency, supporting people will create efficiency, because you will get more out of people when they know that you've got their back.
But I think back to what you're saying, training is key, because as an employer, I can see how you would be a little bit scared of recruiting someone not knowing what their background is and what the issue, you imagine issues. And I think if you train, I think you make everyone more at ease with, this is okay, this is about the person, not what they've done. And I think definitely that training is key if we really want to change mentalities, because there's always an element of, I'm going to be a little bit scared because I'm out of my comfort zone. I'm meeting people who I'm not familiar with that kind of background. What could be the implication? Is it going to be an issue at work? And just being trained on actually, no, this is just a person who's coming in for an employment would definitely help. So I think it's key. Yeah. Do you have anything to add?
And I think just following on from what Yvette said with the training, businesses could just put in a probationary period, 3 to 6 months, see how you go, see if it's the right fit, see if you can help the company. Like it doesn't need to be a flat blanket no because you made a mistake or you made a couple mistakes. We're not our past. We can be better if we're given the opportunity and the support and the chance. So I just feel like probationary periods would really help.
I think, one of the things that we have seen in the women that we support, which is really distressing to us, is that we sometimes have women who go into employment and they thrive and they do a great job, and then a police check is done maybe 3, 6, 12 months into their employment and they're let go. Even though their actions have proven that they are a great fit and can do the work, the police check overrides it, and it doesn't make sense to me. And I think, for me, it's around challenging that. It's around saying, why should a police check have more say over, what a person does and brings and is?
Going around that, what are the implications for women who've just come out, have just served their sentence? If they don't have the right level of support, what are the implications?
Well, essentially, if they don't have the right supports or opportunities to grow and become better, then they're just going to go back to square one, which is sadly back in prison or back to committing crime. Like if people aren't willing to open their door and support and help people break this cycle, then it's just going to get worse.
It's so important to have independence, and financial independence comes from having work, right? So if we're closing our doors, and I hear all these people go, oh, we wish that people would stop offending and we need the government and their tough on crime thing. Tough on crime doesn't solve anything. If we can allow people to start their rehabilitation journey inside those prison walls and make some choices, and then those promises that were made in some of the programs that people do in prison are actually then followed through on the outside, because employers are employing them because they did 6 courses in prison and have now the qualifications. I hear all the time, I did all these courses and I did all the education they told me to, and I cannot get a job. So, yeah, we need to be part of the solution, and that is we need to open our doors to people that are trying to change their lives.
Just touching on the education and courses inside, there's not much for women.
No.
Men can do trades, men can get actual certificates to come out and go straight onto the building site. They can go into a metal workshop. Us women, I sat in custody for 5 years. I think for 3.5 of that, I was on the wait list to do a business administration course. I got told I couldn't do it because there wasn't enough women interested in it. And then by the time I got ready to be able to do it, those women, they got either released or got moved to other centres. So I think the only courses I was able to do was a Certificate 1 in vocational studies. I can read and I can write. I don't need that. I needed something that was going to help me when I left. So I was lucky enough to get a works release position at the end of my sentence the last year, where I worked in the community and I returned back to the centre of an evening. But yeah, I feel like that should be more accessible for more women, definitely more courses.
And I think if you look at recidivism rates as well, around 80% of people will reoffend within 2 years of release, which is extraordinary. And so, punishment isn't a preventative for the future. And what we know from some research, and most of the research is based around men because men make up the largest population of people who are incarcerated. But the aim was how did employment impact recidivism rates? And for men, they had an aim to reduce it by about 5 percentage points, and they managed to prove that it reduced it by 9, which is fantastic. But there was some research done by Corrective Services in Victoria that showed for women, even though their recidivism rates also sat at nearly 80% within 2 years, employment reduced reoffending by 67%. So for women, it was a massive difference, and it creates better outcomes for women and a safer society for everyone.
So in that line, what maybe one action that companies can take to help in this direction? Because as you say, employment is key.
I think for me, it's around employers creating flexibility for women, especially women with current legal proceedings. So flexibility, I think, around being able to attend their court dates, to be able to handle the matters that they need to handle and not let that impact their employment. It seems relatively simple, but it's actually not common. And so women will often lose their employment because they have to attend court. And these are women who are trying to get their children back or are, trying to finalise their involvement in the criminal legal system, and they need that support to be able to do that. So to me, that's something really simple that organisations can do that would allow them to manage that part of their life and feel supported in their employment, knowing that they've got security.
For me, it's quite simple. Please stop doing national police checks. And if you do feel like you need to do this as a business for whatever reason, because there is no legal requirements around it, then have processes in place that allows it to be a supported process and not a blanket screening, but that you sit down and you consider each case and you ask the woman or the person about their story and who they really are, and you assess their skills and their employability for those roles over that national police check.
I was pretty much going to say the same thing. So just adding on to that then would be essentially like if a woman or a person comes back with a criminal history, don't just say no. Sit down and talk and do a risk assessment. Mm-hmm. Okay, maybe if they're doing something in finances, do a risk assessment around that. Or if they're just working in a warehouse, then is it really necessary? Or is it really going to cause that much of a problem? Don't look at people for their faults, because we all have faults. No one's perfect.
Thank you very much. So listening and trying to summarize a little bit, companies need to be more open, give more opportunities, more support, more feedback, more flexibility. Training is key. Anything else you'd like to add or share you feel should be added?
I think that's all.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
But also remember, we're not just saying that we're asking you to do all these things. You will hire people that will surprise you and that will lift up your entire team, and the ripple effect it will have on their life, you may not even know. But that change alone, isn't that worth taking a risk and looking behind somebody's national police check? and allowing us to see our shared humanity and remembering that we all deserve a fair go.
Thank you very much. So to end this interview, I'm very pleased to be making an announcement for Legrand. We are doing this for International Women's Day. Legrand is proud to announce that we've just entered into an employment partnership between Legrand and Success Works. So Yvette, maybe just a few words on what that implies.
We are so excited about this. It's just so wonderful that we've entered into this partnership. For us, what that means is that we'll be working with Legrand to identify roles within the organisation that we can then market to our candidates. We do that regularly. We also do it in a very personalised and holistic way. So we'll also do some reverse marketing. If we come across a fantastic candidate that we think will fit really well into your culture and into the work that you can offer, we'll absolutely be in touch and let you know about it. But it does provide another safe opportunity for our candidates to find employment and really to bring meaning back to their lives. I think, having that purpose is really important. And the fact that, we have diverse locations as well is really key, because a lot of our candidates would like to find work closer to where they actually live. I think everyone understands the issues around long commutes and things like that, but when you're a sole parent, it can become a huge barrier. So I think that's another key point, and we're so excited about this and think that it's going to be a fantastic journey for us to go on.
And I think it was also mentioned the whole mentoring program, so it's probably we can be part of that.
Yeah, absolutely. At the moment, we have women in our mentoring program. So if there is anyone who would like to do that, we offer support. So we run induction training. We just ran another session the other day for our mentors around mental health. And we offer ongoing opportunities. We also offer our volunteering opportunities to our mentors. So if you wanted to come along with the person that you're mentoring to one of our volunteer days, we're more than happy to have them come along. So, yeah.
Thank you very much. Hot off the press, also very happy to announce that in the entities where we don't have electricians on site, Natasha mentioned it, we have the test and tag, and Legrand will be using Success Works for this, so I'm very, very pleased to announce that as well. Thank you very much to our panelists for this, really interesting and definitely a lot of things to think about. Thank you to everyone who's online and has been watching. Definitely we're happy that we're bringing our support as Legrand to rights protectors, justice delivered and action taken for International Women's Day. Thank you very much and have a great afternoon.